Hi, everyone, and welcome into the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko here with you. Tariq Spence, and we're welcoming back Kevin the Club. Tariq, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Enjoying the fact that I have nothing but the Mets to watch for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Did you use the word enjoy?
Yeah.
My son is a Mets fan, and he says they're close to unwatchable.
Well, they are, but you'd love to see what they can get back in the trading deadline, even before the All-Star break. So we'll wait and see and play it out.
Kevin?
Welcome. Yeah, good to be back. I didn't.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks. This is good. I figure you're going to be into the routine. We get your A game today.
I didn't, because of where I'm sitting, I didn't get a note that said I had to, change who I was and be.
Well, we were looking for a uniform.
And as, if I had to wear some kind of jersey or hat or scarf or, go team.
We like you just the way you are. Kevin,
Right.
let's talk a little bit of baseball. We'll talk. You're looking at the standings. It's hardly. If you just dropped into the Major League Baseball season at this point, you'd look at it, you wouldn't believe what you're seeing.
Very true. As someone who grew up in Minnesota and was a Twins fan growing up and, still hope they do well, they're where they're supposed to be. They're 2 games under 500 or, hovering around 500, and they lead the division. But you look at, Texas was supposed to be good. The Rangers built a team to win, and they are. Doesn't always happen. Some teams...
Yes, the Mets. Yes, you can say that. Yeah, that's right.
Can spend a lot of money to win, but Arizona, and I think it's great that there's new blood. There's new teams on top, that fan bases that have perpetually watched a losing team now get to cheer.
Baseball's turning into this game of streaks, too. Tampa Bay went on one very early, one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, still at the top. Cincinnati is on one right now, which was great to watch as we're taping this as you go forward. Then you have sort of your staple teams that are always seeming as if they should be good and they're not. The Yankees, I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Are they really a one-person team?
But yeah, it's called Aaron Boone, because no matter what success that they get, he gets
Aaron
the
Judge.
Well, no.
Oh, I mean,
the manager.
Gotcha, yes.
Aaron Judge has gone back to this whole, he gets injured again after a great season last year. Aaron Boone seems to be the problem when they win, and the problem when they lose, and the problem all the year round. Meanwhile, DJ LeMahieu is not the player he used to be. You've got sketchy pitching at that, and you're not quite sure when Stanton's going to show up or if he's going to show up at all.
Well, he will for his 4, 6, 8, 10 games in a row, and then he'll disappear for 18, and then he's...
And I mean, even when Aaron Judge is healthy and they play so poorly without him, why is anyone pitching to this guy?
That's a very good point. Sometimes they're not, but he's got pretty good reach too. I mean, he's got a good eye at the plate, and I think even if you miss the zone, he can go hit it. So, but are they really? Is everything based on him? Where are their outfield's pathetic when they have to play defense? Who are these guys?
I have no idea.
It's crazy.
But he's the captain. He got everything he wanted. He stayed in New York. They wanted him there. He's the captain of the Yankees right now. I just don't see where they go. They're in the middle pack. They're not terrible, but if they are able to get healthy and get it back together, I only worry about their pitching. That's all I worry about.
What if they miss the playoffs? I mean, the way it's set up, they have to finish in the top 3 in the AL East. And last I looked, they were just a half game ahead of Toronto for 3rd place.
I think they're going to clean half house. I think you're going to keep Judge, obviously have him under that contract, but everybody else comes under question.
Have they ever been sellers?
I don't. Well,
the Aroldis Chapman year. Remember, they sold him and got him back.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
When the Cubs won the World Series,
right.
The only time I remember.
I don't count the Yankees out because they're just that bizarre of a team that they could go on a streak, and then next thing you know, there's no reason to worry about it, and you're into the playoffs. That being said, but is this a championship team right now? No,
And
nowhere near it.
I just don't see team cohesiveness there. I mean, Josh Donaldson's not. He's not a guy you build your team around.
Guy.
No, not at all.
Hey, one quick thing at the end, since you brought up the Twins and watching these central divisions, is this an issue that Major League Baseball someday may have to deal with, the fact that everything is coastal-centric and the central divisions are bad in both leagues?
Well, but for how long? I mean, the Cubs shouldn't be. They certainly have the financial wherewithal to go buy a team to fill holes when they've developed prospects. So the Royals won it. It was a while ago now, but still they won a World Series in 14, 15. So I don't know. I mean, it's the Brewers aren't that. They've been close. So I don't think it's an issue to really address. The Cardinals are perennial a power. They're down now, but their farm system will rebuild because that's what they do.
I mean, there's only a couple of games in Central divisions in both American League and the National League that could come down to a nice big race at the end that baseball would love to see. You'd hate to see teams just totally dominate and it's just playing out the rest of the schedule.
It can be fun, but it's almost like the Central divisions are playing in a different league.
They are.
And not because I, do hope the Twins do well or could consider myself a Twins fan. They get in. They have pitching. Like, they can knock off one of the top teams easily.
Except New York.
Because of, they love
can't
to play
play?
New York this year. Oh, they dominated this year.
Oh, yeah.
They did. Did you see the season series?
We are the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills next. Just passing through. J-Mac, Soccer Sam Fantuzzo, Loretta Scott, Joe Beard, 29 in all, life lessons from notable Rochesterians. Available now.
I have some travel books, Volume 1, Volume 2. You'll be able to get one of these books for free when you buy the new Volume 2 for only $14.95. Contact me at MikeTheGetawayGuy@gmail.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Bills segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda, the 3 generations celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today. Find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. Tariq, they're still, I think, considered one of the elite teams in the NFL, but the Buffalo Bills are catching a lot of negative flack nationally lately.
Which is bizarre to me, and I know people say,
they haven't even played a game.
That's
Can we let it play out first?
That's the concern that I have. We haven't played a game. As a matter of fact, all we've had are sort of these OTAs and camps, which seem to have so much controversy. And controversy with Stephon Diggs. And like I said before, I've been a big defender of Stephon Diggs before, but this has gone on a little bit too long now. It's almost as if last week was he didn't want to show up the first day. He knew the coaches knew. They finally got him in the second day. Buffalo Bills were all over it. Now it becomes sort of this concern about the offense, wanting more play calling or maybe more say into the offense. The same thing, he made another comment this week about DeAndre Hopkins being on that team, being frustrated about that. So I'm not quite, I thought it would clear up, especially since Sean McDermott is very good in front of the podium and clearing sort of these controversial things up very quickly.
Without saying anything.
Yeah, but where is that? Because you kind of need that right now.
I mean, he said, everything's okay. This was excused. We just wanted you to let you know. Well, when did all this, when did this really play out? He didn't tell us anything. He didn't say what really happened.
No.
He just let,
But this adventure kind of exposed the team. It's like now the national narrative is that there's problems there that don't seem to be going away, where Diggs is either the problem or representative of something that's permeating the offense and the organization and stuff, and you're hearing about McDermott's job not being quite as secure as it seemed to be. All the rest of the stuff that comes in, and it's just Buffalo. All the other good teams in the NFL are set and ready to go, and here are the Bills going, I don't know what I think about this team.
The Vikings got rid of Stephon Diggs, and they were vilified for it. Mm-hmm. Seems to have worked out okay, though. They seem to have known what they were doing because Justin Jefferson might be the best there is.
Well, they've gone back to the playoffs since then. The Bills, I think, have had more success.
But maybe they knew what they were doing in moving on from Diggs.
Yeah, well, sometimes relationships end. They're just not, you're not supposed to be with one player for the rest of your career. This is not the way it used to be in the NFL.
And wide receivers seem to have about a 3-year shelf life in that regard.
Running backs, maybe even 2. So,
well, that's because of their shelf life period. But wide receivers, it seems to be just who they are.
Yeah,
their makeup.
There was a
draft, part of the position.
There's been NFL drafts where running backs went like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Now it seems like, you know what? These positions have changed on a dime, which is why you get all this sort of upset running backs sort of looking for their trade value or their value, and it's not there. But that being said, for Buffalo, what concerns me about this is that all the chips are in the middle of the table here. There's you only have, maybe if you trade Stephon Diggs, getting back players to build for the near future. This is a now team that needs to be in the Super Bowl come February.
So what I guess I'm getting at is from where you sit, is this a real problem or is this something that the media needs to talk about because there's nothing else going on?
It's great for the media because nothing else is going on, but it's very toxic for the team until it gets all resolved. You know what you need? You need Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs together. I know you got to wait till camp at Fisher together, sort of like not so much doing a press conference, but at least around one another. That this isn't some sort of thing that's going to linger on and now define camp and then define preseason and then define the season.
I really want to ask this as a longtime sports writer. When you get into these lulls, is there a lot of pressure to find something, almost invent something to talk about?
I don't think you can invent something, because if you do, then it's really not a story. And it gets exposed as this was just made up, it was invented. But it when everybody has it and when everybody knows it and everybody's talking about it, then it does exist and it is something. But if I'm a Bills fan, I'm not a fan of any NFL team. I just watch the game and enjoy the game. It's June. If you're going to have a controversy, have it now. You know, let it play out. If there is, who knows what's to it, but, you know, there's plenty of time to
Pat
resolve.
Duffy's point last week.
You want to be
exactly what he
boring.
said.
If you're an NFL team, you want to be boring.
Absolutely.
You don't want any problems until
Bill Belichick.
there you go. Unlike the
The
Miami
most
Dolphins.
boring team there has ever been that won how many championships.
And yet everybody's afraid of them come the start of the NFL season.
Right, but that's what I'm
That would
saying.
be 6, by the way.
We don't know behind the scenes, but the image they portrayed, they spoke, everything they said was boring, but they won.
Yeah.
Our Buffalo Bills segment was brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not, is next. Here's the Press Box Trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
Hey, hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guide. Today I'm in the Finger Lakes, Skinny Atlas, and today's getaway is a boat ride getaway. Come along for the ride. Check out the Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment is brought to you by Sport Clips, where the MVP experience is better than ever. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. No appointments are needed. Stop by a Rochester location today. We ran this by Duffy last week about the Buffalo Sabres and how it seems to be everything is in place for them finally. But, you know, you being Mr. Hockey in Rochester and all, like it or not, Buffalo
Isn't that
Sabres
Jody
next
Gage?
year.
I think they're on their way. Now, whether they, I do think they are in a position right now that they better make the playoffs. Yes, you can say, oh, they missed by just 1 point this year, and look at where Florida was, the team that beat them out. A little deceptive, a little deceiving, but, you know, they could have made a move at the trade deadline and maybe picked up a 3-4 defenseman that they need, and that might have pushed them over the top. But I like the fact they have a lot of young parts. They're not all going to play, and they're not all going to fit in the big picture. But there are teams elsewhere in the league that want those parts. So you can move 1 or 2 for a ready-made top-tier player that gets you over the top.
They're finally in that position.
I believe they are. And the question I still have is goaltending. I mean, is Devin Levi the guy? Maybe, eventually. Is he now? I don't think so. I can't come up with a goalie who started in the NHL, out of college, I mean, everyone needed some time. Going back to Ken Dryden, to Carey Price, to Patrick Waugh. Patrick Waugh might have been the last. He won a cup with Sherbrooke coming out of junior, and the next year he was in the NHL. So he might be the last.
A credit to you, too, with the Amherst, because last time we had you here, you were when we were looking down the road at the playoffs, you said they would beat Toronto and probably not go any further, and Hershey, of course, got in their way. And
Well, I started wondering.
You were spot on it, man.
I started thinking, wow, this team might be. And they were close. I mean, the series with Hershey was very close, and then that series with in the Calder Cup Finals with Kachina Valley goes to the Game 7. So the Amherst were close, and it was fun to see. And I think maybe an interesting thing now, same with the Bills. Like, you know where the Bills had become an elite team when the guys they cut were being picked up by other teams. I think that's how you can judge sometimes whether a team really has arrived. And both Amherst assistant coaches, Michael Pekka and Mike Weber, have moved on to NHL jobs as assistants. So that says in the big picture, the team is on their way. They've got the right plan.
Can I give you a quick like it or not on the New York Mets?
Sure,
Maybe sellers at the deadline?
Yes, I'll take it. You know why? Because I believe that you've got these stars in Lindor and Alonso, who, first of all, Alonso was hurt, so I'll give him a pass on that. But Lindor has not been the player that they have. I get it, 50 RBIs, yes, it's great, but 220 average is not great. For Alonso, same thing. I get it, 20-plus home runs, but he's injured, the injury factor there. Plus, the DS season started. It almost as if it was curse after curse after curse. Verlander has not been the Verlander we thought it was going to be. Max Scherzer did get it together. He's got 6 wins so far this year.
Is it fixable?
That's my concern. I don't think it is, and you're going to be selling off parts. Scherzer will be valuable to a team making a run. So will Verlander, maybe to get out of New York.
Are those guys finally too old?
I think they
pitchers?
are, but you know what, though?
I was saying after 5 years.
If you're telling me 4 or 5 months of this guy's arm in the playoffs, I'll take it for Scherzer and of course, build for the future somewhere down the line. They need a big star. I want Shohei. I don't know if he'll come to New York, but they need a leader, someone in there that will work with Alonso to make this team viable for baseball and the National League East. They do not have leadership, and that's a concern. Buck might be gone. I'd like to keep him, but he might be the sacrificial lamb there.
Like it or not, brought to you by Sport Clips, Unfinished Business. Is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here. Unfinished Business is brought to you by the Genesee Brew House, your beer destination since 2012. Visit the gift shop, enjoy a tasting at our pilot brewery, and dine at the pub-style restaurant at the Genesee Brew House. Unfinished Business. Let's start with you, Kevin.
This is, without a doubt, a great time to be a sports fan because where are the dynasties? They're gone, aren't they? There's no Patriots dominating the NFL. The Yankees don't dominate baseball. The Bucks have won an NBA championship. The Nuggets just won an NBA championship. Look at me talking basketball here, by the way. Vegas wins the NHL Stanley Cup against another upstart Florida Panthers team. Where are the Canadians? Where are the Rangers that should be dominating? I think it's great. I think in the downfall. The one downfall, though, is who do fans hate? Who do young fans hate now? You don't hate the Yankees. They're not any good, really. Do you hate the Red Sox? Maybe, but they're turning it on, but they're not what they were. You can't hate the Patriots. They're no good. I love the fact that anybody can win a championship right now. Arizona's tearing it up in baseball. The Texas Rangers, they bought a team, but they're tearing it up. I think it's a great time to be a sports fan because the norm is not the norm.
When it comes to the NBA draft, of course, I sat there on Thursday, so happy for these young players getting this opportunity to get into the NBA. I see the families. I see the thank you of the mom, the thank you of the dad, a number of religious references. And then you go out there and you say to yourself, okay, which one of these players that got drafted really low is going to be the next NBA star? And which one of these NBA players that got drafted really high is going to be the next bust of the NFL? It doesn't matter. We're going to find out within the next 2 years. That's right. I don't think about it as Rookie of the Year. I think about a 2-year development on NBA players. Look at Aaron Gordon, who basically went to the Orlando Magic to start off his career, not really to play maturity-wise in the NBA. Body-wise, skill-wise, yes. Had to grow, had to understand who he was as an individual, what role he can play, and when he got his chance to get an NBA championship, he was able to do so. It takes time for young people to get it together. That's because you hand them millions of dollars doesn't mean they're going to be instant role models and NBA champions and all of these great accolades going forward. They got to work in that gym. Summer League will be the first opportunity to see if they're able to put in that work and how much they're going to be able to adapt to an NBA team. But it all starts with the partying and fun and joy of the NBA draft, which I love just as much as the NFL draft.
In 2021 and 2022, Major League Baseball took a walk down memory lane by playing 2 games that counted in Dyersville, Iowa, at the Field of Dreams, a nod to the 1989 Kevin Costner film that romanticized the sport like no other. There's certainly a place for that. Next year, the Giants of the Cardinals have been dispatched to play in another Field of Dreams, a real-world Field of Dreams, Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. A bit about the place first. Rickwood Field is the oldest professional ballpark in the United States. It was built in 1910. That's 2 years before Fenway Park opened in Boston. It served as the home field for the minor league Birmingham Barons. On alternating weekends for the better part of 40 years, between 1920 and 60, Rickwood was also home to the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Baseball Leagues. The legendary Satchel Paige pitched 4 seasons with the Black Barons, and in 1948, the last year of the dominant Negro National League, when the New York Black Yankees played their home games in Rochester, Birmingham reached the World Series championship behind the efforts of a 17-year-old outfielder, Willie Mays, who hadn't yet graduated from high school. Following along the path blazed by Jackie Robinson, Mays went on to a 22-year Major League Baseball career and is considered among the best players ever. Mays is 92 now. Rickwood, where he got his start, is 113. Both are still standing, and next June we'll get another day in the sun. It is difficult to imagine a more fitting salute to a man, a ballpark, and a too easily forgotten part of the baseball's past. Baseball got this one right. That is our Unfinished Business, brought to you by the Genesee Brewhouse, and that is our show. A great time to be a sports fan, huh?
It is, no question.
Do you know how many sports, movies, TV shows, reality shows, and actual sports I can stream now? Like, it's right at my fingertips.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt things either. No. Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.
This is true. I watched a reality soccer show the other day. I'm like, this team trying to get promotion to Premier League. Leeds something. Leeds United.